one.
I am sure.
Probably a good 15. I was at GTI for almost 18 years. I've been a friend for over 10 years now. Yeah.
Well, it's time to get out and work in the daylight, isn't it?
Yeah, most of it's been like more than half of it.
Doug, I'm on the agenda for Main Street Greenville. He's here.
You ready, man?
We're good.
All right, we'll call this meeting the city council to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Whitaker.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Ely. Here. Godwin.
Here.
Norris.
Here.
All right, everyone, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Approval of the minutes. You should have all received a copy of the minutes. Any additions or corrections? If not, we'll let those stand approved. Approval of the current financial report. You should have received a copy of that as well. Motion to approve. That's submitted. Motion by Mr. Brown to approve the current financial report. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
All right, moving on, approval of the agenda, under committee reports, number 2, that will be stricken tonight. But we do have one to add also, that was an ad hoc committee, so you want to call that number 2, or how would you like to handle that? Yeah, so the current one that's on there now out of finance, we'll strike that and replace that with an ad hoc committee. Other than that, I don't think we have anything else to add.
Make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Got a motion by Mr. Godwin to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
All right, moving on, public hearing. Anyone wishing to address council, please come forward and state your name.
Tracy Trine, Superintendent, Greenville Union Cemetery. I just came up this evening to clarify for some of the newer members. Evidently, there were some people dissatisfied in voicing their opinions on Facebook. Recently, we cleaned up. The cemetery does a cleanup every March. It's stated in the cemetery rules, and it's also stated on the signboards at each entrance. Those signboards have been there for over 20 years. Also stated on the signboards and in the rules is that any holiday type of decorations that are up are allowed for 1 week and then must be removed or removed. Then it also states throughout there on the rules and regulations about not putting anything in the way of mowing, nothing in the ground, and things must be cleaned up. Well, of course, Memorial Day was a week ago, and this week we picked up things that were stuck in the ground. And I had not received any calls as of noon today, but evidently somebody was dissatisfied and, like I said, voicing their opinions. So I just want you to be aware that, you know, I'll take care of it. If they call the office, they may not like the answer, but you know, it's stated in the rules there. Okay, so if anyone asks, that's the rules have been adopted by the Board of Trustees years ago. They've been modified over the years to reflect some different things, but 3 years ago, the insurance carrier for the cemetery, Cincinnati Insurance, did an assessment, and at that time they said the only thing we're allowed to have in the ground are the wire or the metal military flag holders, because they were pretty heavy and in the ground sufficiently. Otherwise, things can be picked up by the mowers or the attached trimmers to the mowers. And if that happens, they can fling and injure somebody. They can tear up our mowers. They can damage headstones, and the cemetery would be responsible for the results. And they would not, because we know that it's a hazard. If we do not take action, we would be responsible. They would not satisfy the claim, and they would probably cancel us. And you just can't find that type of insurance just anywhere, right, Chris?
That's correct.
So you know, we follow that pretty closely. The other thing that's really that is important this year is we're behind because of all the rain, and we're still trying to catch up on trimming and spraying around the edges for weeds, let alone spraying the whole grounds. And we've got to have that. We needed that stuff removed because we started spraying this yesterday morning and needed to have that taken care of so we can get that handled. So if anybody complains, that's behind it. If you got any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, now as Tracy trying 600 Tree Way, I come to you as a citizen on two other issues. One, I really am getting, with the weather getting nice and stuff again, the individuals around town that drive their lawnmowers as if they're real vehicles on city streets. And I'm not talking about, you know, driving down a block to take care of somebody else's yard. They drive in these cars, they go up and down not only Broadway, I've seen them on Martin Street, I've seen them on East Main Street, I've seen them on Russ Road and Wagner Avenue. Sometimes they're on the street, sometimes they're on the sidewalks. You know, one carries a trailer behind and is constantly picking things up. And well, it's nothing for him to dart from one side to the other. I saw him on a busy weekday morning downtown Broadway in front of Second National Bank, do a U-turn and to go from heading north to southbound in front of a semi. Yeah, I'm very careful and cautious when I drive because my eyes aren't the best. And these guys are darting in and out. I've seen them drive after dark. Their lights are not, you know, bright enough to see that. I've seen them dart out of alleys and whatnot. You know, the other thing is they're driving on some of the routes that are state routes. Their vehicles, the lawnmower tops is 7.5 miles per hour. I know that there's individuals in town with golf carts that have to meet street regulations for the police to be, they have to be licensed and insured and the whole 9 yards and go a certain speed. In fact, I'm looking at buying one myself for that purpose. But these lawnmowers, I think there's got to be something done about it. Okay, so I'd like you to maybe take that under advisement. The other second thing that I'd like to bring up is I would like you to really take a close look at the proposal that came out a few weeks ago about the city doing its own trash. I'm not totally against the city doing their own trash, especially if they would hook up maybe with a other local community like Versailles is doing theirs and maybe do it. But there was a reason why the city back, some 40 years ago, did away with having their own trash pick up in the city. The startup cost, I know, is quite big. You know, you're talking a couple trucks, individuals to be hired, and how many individuals you hire, because if somebody needs off, you're gonna have vacations, you're gonna have paid holidays, you're gonna have sick leave, things like that. You gotta have enough people there. What department are they gonna fall under? They're gonna be another union group for you to deal with, so on and so forth. So I really, this is not something I think you should just jump at and look at. I know it's tough, the cost for all the trash carriers, the best way and Rumpke and all of them are going up, especially with this fuel surcharges. It's almost ridiculous, but I'd like you to take your time and really do a thorough investigation before you take action to make that a permanent part of the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Anybody got any questions?
Tracy.
Cemetery.
The cemetery question, just because I'm
Yeah.
not familiar. So when you guys pick those up, do they go straight to the trash? Do you hold them for a hot second? Like,
A couple of years ago, when we did the thorough cleaning, we held all the things that were purchased, they went to plastic flowers and things like that. We held them, there were shepherd hooks and things like that. And people came and claimed some of their stuff. People came and claimed somebody else's things. So we did not hold it this time. I'll be honest with you, we actually loaded our dump truck and tarped it, and it was right to Rumpke, because it was cheaper for us to take it to Rumpke and dump it than to fill our dumpster and have them come and dump it because of the rising cost.
Sure.
So like I said, I understand the trash part, but that's the reason we did that. Okay.
Tracy, I got a question.
Yeah.
On the stones that people have out there, if they got something setting on the stone, like
We do not touch it.
and then the tulip cups on each side.
We do not touch it. Anything on top in the permanent bases or on the foundation, we don't touch. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to come up missing.
Yeah.
We've had things.
There's people go back and they take angels or they take stuff off of stones.
The one lady I talked to today, her parents passed last fall within a week of each other, so it was all new to her. And she said, well, everything in front was gone, but the angels were still there. And I said, well, I'm just going to give you a little hint. You may want to get some good adhesive and glue them down, because they could come up missing.
Yeah.
An example would be, I had a family with a very nice pot out for Memorial Day. The family met on Memorial Day afternoon, on Monday afternoon a week ago, and was out there. And the next morning, the lady asked her husband to go get it before 8:30 in the morning, and it was gone. Now with the winds and stuff up in the new part, some of those saddle flowers, which are the flowers that sit on top, they blow off. I've told people in the past, if you put your name or the name of the person it goes to, we'll put them back up. But otherwise, we don't know where they go, and we toss them. Last night, I was leaving about 3:15, 3:30. There was a wind kind of whirling, possible storm coming. And I went up there, and there were two or three of those plastic things blowing around. There were a couple pots of real life flowers that like hanging petunias that were light. They were blowing, I kind of picked that stuff up. Even the cemetery has certain individuals that we have to put flowers out per contract from years ago, put them around for Memorial Day. And, I put them out, and then I try to pick them up right away. And then we plant them somewhere around the cemetery so they're year round. And they were, when I went to collect those, I had 3 of them that were already taken. So, it just happens, and I know we get blamed for it, but we don't want to do it, but we're constantly picking stuff up, and our neighbors to the north of us across 571, they're constantly having, a nice crop of plastic flowers in their fields as they farm. So, we try to be good neighbors to keep things picked up. Cool. Anyone else?
Tracy, and really the rules at the cemetery there are actually no different than, like, I have loved ones at Greenville Township Memorial Gardens and
Right.
Abbotsville, and it's the same thing posted at the
Yeah.
cemetery. So you're not doing anything different
No.
than the other cemeteries, correct?
No, and, and we're just trying to keep it clean and neat and tidy. And an example, last week, because of everything that was out, and we left it there for the week, I had to have two guys an extra half day on mowing because they had to mow around everything. It took them that much extra time. So there is an extra cost in that. If we left it, when I took over, it was in pretty bad shape as far as things building up. And, people just kept adding to their flower collections, not taking away. And actually the people, they own the burial rights for the lot. They do not own the ground. The cemetery, the city and the township own that ground out there. They own the monument that is theirs. That's it. If we do damage to that monument, we have to pay the repairs. If it's an act of God, it's up to the family. If a tree falls on it, it's an act of God. If it's a tree that we know that's bad, falls on it, it's on us. Doug, as a member, will know that, I had two trees we had to take down a few days before Memorial Day because we had two big branches come out and left big gaping holes that showed that they were hollow. And those were two trees I hadn't really identified yet because all the other ones. Leon knows that since Leon was there on the board when I took over, and in the 3 years I've been there, we've had to remove over 30 trees because of the bad shape they're in, the decaying. We've had some trees that came down on their own. I think everybody saw a picture on Facebook last year of a giant pine. Well, that's not the biggest one that came down. The biggest one came down was one that came down in the nick of time. I had to see it blowing in the wind and the roots were coming up. And I said something, I called the board, they said, get it down. I called a local tree company, they came right away, they took it down. It was taller than their boom that went up 90 feet. They got it down. And when they went to get the roots out, they didn't even need the saw for the roots. Their little bobcat popped it right out. That's how shallow it was. And they told me, boy, if we had an ice storm, it'd come right down. The next day we had an ice storm and it would have taken out the giant military statue in the veterans area. That's where it was sitting.
Wow.
So, there's things we got to keep constantly looking at and making things better. So we're working on it.
Thanks for your explanation with the rules and so forth.
Yeah, and like I said, it's on the Facebook page, it's on the cemetery page, it's on the rules we mail out, and it's on there's a board at each entrance, at the main gate entrance, at the entrance off of 49 and 571 right there, halfway between where there's a drive coming in, and at the main entrance at the new part on 571.
Good deal. Thank you.
They're big boards. They're about 12 feet high and
It's big enough.
red and white and black. So
I wanted to tell you, it looks nice when you drive, I have family members that are buried out there. And
that's the guys that work there. All I do is make
go
sure that
through
they get
and
their checks
nice
on
to-
time.
That's good.
That's my
You're
job.
paying them, Tracy.
Yeah, they're really
It
good.
does look nice.
In fact, if any council members or Mr. Mayor, if you'd be interested, or Mr. Delk, next Tuesday, as appreciation for the hard work that they put forward, getting things ready for Memorial Day, we're providing lunch for them at noon in the cemetery office. If you want to come out, it's some good pizza from out west of town with wings and salad and such. If you'd like to come out and pat them on the back, I'd appreciate it because they need to feel appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Anyone else wishing to address council?
I'm Greg Billing, Executive Director of Main Street Greenville and the Dark County Visitors Bureau. When we went through the city funding process, it was requested or asked that if I wouldn't mind coming in and sharing what both groups are doing during the course of the year. So I looked at my schedule and I thought I got some vacations coming up. So I wanted to get in here now before got too late. So yesterday I did send out meeting notes for both groups and my director's reports for Main Street Greenville and the Visitors Bureau. So if you didn't receive those, let me know and I'll make sure you get copies. And I can update you on just some programs we have going on right now. To start with Main Street Greenville, we have the Adopt a Box program going on. The flowers are starting to look pretty good. We have 18 of the 22 pots were adopted and 48 of the 50 boxes were adopted. So we're still working on getting the other ones adopted for that. Hometown Heroes banners went up. We appreciate the street department doing that for us. We have 33 banners currently up, and I think there's about 5 more requests for more banners. We just opened up our farmers market last Saturday, and that'll continue through October. We have about 21 vendors, and I think we had a pretty good crowd for that on our opening day on Saturday. As far as upcoming events for Main Street Greenville, the next first Friday on July 1st will be, we're calling it Firecracker Friday. We're looking at kind of having like a street party cruise in downtown. Then we have Annie Oakley Days, July 29th and 31st. And then probably our best or most popular first Friday, Artisan Stroll on August 5th. And as far as Darke County goes, big weekend, Eldora is running, so it's always a challenge to try and figure out how to get people from Eldora into Greenville. So they have 4 big races this week, and I did speak to the hotels, and all the hotels said they are booked for this weekend, which is good news. J&M Ranch has a few events coming up in June, Ohio Dream Fest, the Bluegrass Festival, and the Steam Threshers Reunion. So we're always looking at ways to help them promote their events to also get people into the county and downtown. Any questions I can answer for anybody? Anything?
We do appreciate you coming up and updating. I think this is something that we need to continue to do in the future. I think it's worked out well. So we do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions, yeah.
Do like once a quarter, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, like I said, I looked at my schedule and I realized I wasn't going to be able to make it until end of July. So I thought I'd better do it. I'll do it now.
Yeah.
Good deal. Get up on it.
And I do like that you send us a copy of your reports. It's good. It's something that you can read and to be mindful of what's going on. So I really appreciate the reports that we've received so far.
Yeah,
So
glad to
please
do it.
continue to do that.
Yes, definitely will do that.
When will that Bluegrass Festival be?
J&M Ranch. Just outside of town. Yeah.
Thank you.
June 24th through the 25th.
I have a question on the farmer's market. Is there a charge for people to set up there on a Saturday?
Yes. Don't think off the top of my head, $10 for one Saturday, 25 for a month, or 50 for,
And that goes back to Main Street Greenville then?
yes. Yes.
Anyone else? Well, thank you. We do appreciate it.
That's good.
Thank you.
I did forget a couple things about the cemetery. First, the attaboys need to be to the street department. They have helped us out considerably throughout the year. If I call Matt or, he sends somebody down, we take care of things, because every now and then my old guys, and Lord knows me, we can't do anything but, mow and write checks. The other thing is, if you happen to be out in the military section, the company that we contract with to dig the graves and the foundations, Lieber Excavating, they brought their crew in and redid the landscaping all around the military section, put new plants in and things at their expense. So we're very appreciative of that. So thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council? If not, we're going to move on to administrative reports. Mr. Mayor.
Well, I'm going to pass.
All right.
My vacation early.
All right. Moving on then, Safety Service Director, Mr. Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few quick things for the night. The pool is now open. We're open daily 12 to 6. Starting off very good. Pool passes are up from last year. It's been busy. Today, not so much, but the warm weather is bringing them in. We're offering some pool parties. So if anyone's interested in pool parties, they can get on our website and there's paperwork on there how to do it. And you can call the street department and go out to the pool and get that reserved for the pool parties. And then we're also doing some swim lessons over the summer that the lifeguards come in and do in the morning session. So we encourage people to do that as well. The Roundhouse is currently open. They're open 11 to 5 Monday through Friday. They're hoping to do some special events and maybe some weekends if they can get the employees. Staffing is the issue at this point. But we have a new company, so it's through Dark County DD, but then they contract with a company called what everybody always wants. So it's exciting. They have some grant opportunities out there. So we're going to keep working towards that. And then the last thing, this Thursday, June 9th, 7 to 9, the YOLO Summer Concert Series starts down at YOLO Park. So that's every other Thursday, 7 to 9 through the summer months. And with that, I would be glad to answer any questions, but I will pass.
Is it every other Thursday?
Yes, every other Thursday, starting this Thursday, the 9th.
Very good.
Pool is open 12 to 6 Monday through
Daily.
daily, 7 days a week. Oh, okay, great. And what about the South Park?
South Park is open daily, 9 to 9.
While you're on the South Park end, I did have a request from a couple citizens about the turf covering down there being the red clay or something and dirt being drugged from there to the splash pads or something. And there was a suggestion for the ground up rubber tires. I have not been down there to check it out.
Oh, the mulch.
Yeah,
Probably the mulch.
or the mulch or whatever is down there. That's
So the rubber tires, the rubber mulch is like crazy expensive. We've checked into it and tried to do it a few different times, and it's just tough. It's always been a financial decision.
Yep. Okay.
But we'll keep looking into
Couple
it.
comments that I had.
It's definitely always kind of on our radar and something we'd like to do. It's just, getting the funding to do it.
the cost. Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to Law Director, Mr. Reaman.
Thank you. Just a quick thing tonight. We've been talking about nuisance properties. We do have some coming up for sale. It is very helpful if those actually sell and we can get them turned over. So if you know anybody that's looking for a nice investment property, June 10th, there's a couple going. So would appreciate to see some bids because the worst case scenario for us is when they no sell and they sit there in hands too. So that's kind of the big thing that's happening right now. We're still continuing to work through the issues regarding our options and working with the fire departments to see what we can do with the township to make that as efficient as possible. So kind of looking structurally what we can do. We're continuing to meet on that. And so it's been a productive and busy summer and we'll keep it going that way, especially now that Mr. Delk's back.
Got a question.
Yep.
The sale on June 10th, is that going to be online or is that live at the sheriff sale? Is it a tax sale or is it a sheriff sale?
It should be set up as a tax sale.
So those are at the courthouse.
Yep, should be. I'll double check.
I think the sheriff sales went online.
They did.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to Auditor, Mrs. Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I'm going to reserve my comments for a little bit later when we talk about the budget.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to committee reports. We have three separate reports for your consideration tonight. The first one is out of the Utility Committee discussing tap-in fees.
Honorable Member of Council, the Utilities Committee hereby submits a report. The Utilities Committee met on May 12, 2022 in the council chambers to discuss the water tap-in fees for classic warehousing at 1050 Progress Street, Greenville, Ohio 45331. After discussion, it was decided to waive the two tap-in fees of $16,000 each for a total amount of $32,000 for the fire loop and sprinkler system for the building. Our law director will prepare the necessary legislation paperwork. Respectfully submitted, Committee on Utilities, Clarence Godwin, Chairman, Chris Norris, Vice Chairman, and Brian Brown, Member.
You've heard the committee report.
I can move to accept the committee report.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to accept the committee report. Discussion?
Yeah, on what Classic Carrier had to do out there was to upgrade the loop that goes around the building. And they had to put in some fire hydrants around the building, and the cost of those was supposed to be around $1,500 a piece or something like that for the fire hydrants.
Yeah, over the last 6 months, they've went from like $1,500 to like $4,500.
$4,500 a piece. So they had to pay a lot more to upgrade a lot of stuff to do what needed to be done out there, and to get the water pressure where they needed to go, they had to connect the loop in. So Classic Carrier had to pay a lot more on engineering to get it done.
Thank you.
Glad we can help them out.
All right, motion by Mr. Whitaker before you to accept the committee report. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
All right, moving on, we have a report from the ad hoc committee.
Honorable members of council, city council members Dolores Ely, Clarence Godwin, and Doug Schmidt of the Zoning Planning and Governmental Relations Committee met on Wednesday, May 25th with other city officials to discuss the topic of code enforcement officer for the city of Greenville. Both Chief of Police Eric Roberts and Chief of Fire Russ Thompson stated they are currently having problems filling the vacancies in their respective departments. They acknowledge that though the position of code enforcement officer would benefit the city greatly, they do not think it is advisable at this time. The same sentiment was expressed by the city auditor, the mayor, the law director, safety service director, and planning and zoning director. The conclusion reached at this time that the committee would not make any recommendation for action to council. However, it was determined that this issue should be revisited at a later date and be considered as a line item in a future budget. The police department, fire department, and planning and zoning department will continue to work with city officials on situations as they arise. Respectfully submitted, Dolores Ely, Chairwoman, Clarence Godwin, Vice Chairman, and Doug Schmidt, Member.
Move to accept the committee report.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to accept the committee report. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
And last one, we have a report from the finance committee about the 2023 budget.
Honorable members of council, the finance committee met June 1st in the council chambers to review the preliminary budget for 2023. The budget that was presented to us is balanced and is ready to present to the county for review. At this time, the finance committee recommends that we approve this budget. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Doug Schmidt, Chair, Jeff Whitaker, Vice Chairman, and Leon Rogers, Member.
You heard the committee report.
Make a motion to accept the committee report.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to accept the committee report. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Now, we have legislation prepared just for that one, correct?
Yes.
For the committee report on the budget, we'll need a motion to add that.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Brown to add to the agenda the legislation to, what's it, for this committee report for the budget. Okay, that will be a resolution. All right. Any discussion on that? Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to ordinances and resolutions. The one we just added will become number 5. First, we have a resolution authorizing the safety service director to advertise for bids.
A resolution authorizing bidding for contracts for water plant chemicals. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids for water treatment chemicals for the city water plant to use in calendar year 2023.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second and third reading by title only. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
Yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing bidding for contracts for water plant chemicals. A resolution authorizing bidding for contracts for water plant chemicals.
Accept the, to accept the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Okay, next we have a resolution to accept the bid from Dark County Aero Modelers Association.
A resolution accepting the bid for the Chestnut Land Lease. This resolution accepts the bid from the Dark County Aero Modelers Association for the Chestnut Land Lease in the city.
Move to suspend the rules, give this second, and third reading by the title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
A resolution accepting the bid for the Chestnut Land Lease. A resolution accepting the bid for the Chestnut Land Lease.
Move to adopt.
I got Mr. Brown. Motion by Mr. Brown to adopt this resolution. Discussion?
We have rehearsals twice a week.
Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Number 3, resolution authorizing safety service director to advertise for bids for maintenance paving.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for maintenance paving streets for 2022. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids for maintenance paving in 2022.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for maintenance paving streets for 2022. A resolution authorizing advertising for bids for maintenance paving streets for 2022.
Move to adopt the resolution.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Next, we have a supplemental ordinance.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. This supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the general fund and waterworks system revenue fund in the sum as follows. Salaries, city building in the amount of $2,500. These funds are needed to cover salaries on additional city building projects. Street capital improvements in the amount of $3,660. These funds are needed to replace a light pole struck by vehicle. The vehicle operator will be billed. Refunds income tax in the amount of $73,836.74. These funds are needed to cover 2021 refunds paid in 2022. Refunds water department in the amount of $1,000. These funds are needed to fund additional refunds in 2022.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and read this ordinance by title only, second, third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, give this ordinance a second, third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Greenville, state of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ely.
yes,
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
And number 5, This is the resolution for the finance report.
A resolution adopting the alternative format tax budget for the year 2023 and declaring an emergency. This resolution accepts the amounts and rates for the tax budget for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2023, as established by the Darke County Budget Commission. This resolution has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules and give this resolution its second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second, and third reading by title only. Discussion. Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely, Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
A resolution adopting the alternate format tax budget for the year 2023 and declaring an emergency. A resolution adopting the alternate format tax budget for the year 2023 and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion.
Just wanted to mention that by approving this legislation, you are giving your blessing for us to go ahead and send this to the Darke County Budget Commission. We are presenting a balanced budget. The one that we will be doing this fall will be much more detailed, and you will be asked to, we'll have a meeting of the committee of the whole to review it. But this one is a little bit simpler to do, the initial one.
Motion before you for the emergency clause. Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion. Call the roll.
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin,
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
All right, moving on to new business. Nothing there, old business, nothing. Moving the agenda to our council representative, the outside committee. Ironically, it's Main Street Greenville tonight, which we just.
Yeah, I really don't have anything more to add to what Greg had to say. I had a few of those bullet points down in my notes. I didn't realize you were gonna come tonight, so I just let you just steal the thunder, which is more than fine with me. You did a great job. I hope everybody at the Main Street Greenville Board continues to do the great work they're doing and serving on committees and so forth. And look forward to a lot of the events coming on, and including the horse parade, which is going to be on the same weekend, right? It didn't get moved. Okay. So I'll be here before you know it. Start your Christmas shopping early.
I turn his mic on.
And, oh, by the way, the merchant meetings, I'd like to encourage the merchants downtown to get more involved in these merchant meetings, because I think everything that they're trying to accomplish is going to be beneficial to them. I'd like to encourage the merchants downtown to get more involved with those. So with that, I'm past that.
Very good. We have any communications?
We received the CIC minutes from March 23rd, 2022, the monthly reports of May from the Income Tax and Street Department, and the Main Street Greenville minutes from May 19th, 2022.
Very good. Thank you. Let's call down the council.
Rogers,
I'm gonna pass tonight.
Schmidt,
I'll pass.
Whitaker,
I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant regarding gas prices. I think everybody's talking about it at the pumps, you know, we all know who's responsible for it. But I think that more people need to know how it affects every single municipality, from the village level on up to the big cities. The police and the fire department in particular are affected by it. We don't know what our budget's going to be. We don't know how it's going to reflect the rest of the inflation that we're going to face. And shame on this administration. That's all I got to say. I'll pass.
Brown,
I just want to say thanks to Greg for coming. I also enjoy being a part of the Visitors Bureau Board. So it's always informational, a lot to learn there. So Tracy, thanks for coming. Looking forward to learning more as I join the cemetery board. So that'll be intriguing, I'm sure. Chief Thompson, kudos to yourself as well as the rest of the fire department. This morning, they had a very difficult endeavor out on Hog Path. in assisting with the helicopter crash. And so kudos to everyone involved there. And with that, I'll pass.
Ely,
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for doing, each of us has a part to play and to do. And I think encouraging our city council, encouraging our city merchants. Also, I'd like to pass on a thank you for all those people who put forth the extra effort to make this a great town to live in. Lived here all my life and don't intend to go anywhere until somebody plants me in the cemetery. But will you take care of that for me?
Godwin,
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming up and that I will pass.
Norris,
Yeah, it's good to have people here and hear their input, and the public's been emailing me or calling me, and that's a good thing to get things out. I really appreciate the traffic circle, the volunteers that put in all the time to put the flags up that are donated flags, and for the city crew for taking care of the lawn care up there. It looks spectacular for Memorial Day. Softball update, of course. We've got 42 teams coming in this weekend to GGSA out on 49. So that'll start the tournament Friday night. So it'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So don't plan on getting them made right because it'll probably be backed up. With that, I'll pass.
And everyone,
Move to adjourn.
motion by Mr. Rogers to adjourn. Discussion? Call the roll?
Rogers,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Winiger,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ely,
Yes.
Godwin, Norris.
Yes.